basic points of the chapter. We have come to know about the topic geometric progression. On the basis of it, we have come to know about general term. Now we will see about the properties of geometric progression. There are some special properties here. Properties of geometric progression. The first property here is the ratio is always the same between two consecutive terms of a GP. We have read it earlier that a sequence is told as a GP only when the common ratio is same. So this is a special property. The ratio is always the ratio is always the same in a GP or between the first property here is the ratio is always the same in a GP, or we can say that the ratio is always the same between consecutive terms of a GP. The common ratio can't vary. If the common ratio will vary, then we will not take it as a GP. We will tell it as a GP only when the ratio, that is the common ratio, that is R, is same there. Okay, and now on to the second property. If we are given that A, B, C are in GP, if we are given here that A, B, C are in GP, then the common ratio between the consecutive terms should be same here. The common ratio, we are finding the common ratio by dividing each term by the previous term. This part is showing us the common ratio, and the common ratio will always be equal in a GP. So we can again find the common ratio by dividing the term by its preceding term. This part is showing that the common ratio is equal to common ratio, and we are finding the common ratio by dividing second term by first term, the third term by second term. So the common ratio is same, so we can write it as B square is equal to AC. Whenever it is given that three terms are in a GP, then we can obtain this part from it. The converse of it, if we are given here that B square is equal to AC, then we can easily say that B by A is equal to C by B. Therefore, A, B, C are in GP. That is the converse part of it. Okay. The first part is the ratio is always the same in GP. The second part is if three quantities are in GP, then we will obtain it as B square is equal to AC. And if we are given B square is equal to AC, then we will follow the converse part that A, B, C are in GP here. Coming on to some more properties of geometric progression. The third point is, suppose if we are given an example here 2, 4, 8, 16, 32 and so on. This is a sequence since they are a group of numbers arranged in a definite order and they are following a certain rule. What rule are they following? Each number is getting multiplied by 2. Therefore, this sequence is a GP here. Okay. And if in a GP each term is raised to the same number, this part is a GP, and if in a GP each element or term are raised to the same power, suppose I am writing a 2 to the power 2, 4 to the power 2, 8 to the power 2, 16 to the power 2, 32 to the power 2, so the new sequence formed will also be a GP. If in a GP each term is raised to the same power, the new sequence formed is also a GP here. But each quantity should be raised to the same power. Then only we can say that the new sequence formed is also a GP here. Coming onto the fourth property, suppose if we are taking the same example 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. This sequence is a GP, that is clear. Now the property here follow is that if we are doing the reciprocal of each term of a sequence. If we are doing the reciprocal of the terms of a GP, then the new sequence formed is also a GP. Here we can see that this part is a GP, and we are doing the reciprocal of each term of this GP. So the new sequence formed is also a GP here. That is the fourth property here. Coming on to the next property. Suppose we are given 2 GP. We are given here, suppose 2 GP. Suppose we are given here 2 GP here. So what is the property here? If we are multiplying each term of a GP with the next term of a GP, then the new sequence formed is also a GP. If we are multiplying each term of a GP with another term of another GP, then the new sequence formed is also a GP. Suppose if we are multiplying the first term of this GP with the first term of this GP, we will write it as a small a multiplied by big A. Again the second term AR multiplied by AR. Again the third term AR square multiplied by AR cube. So we can easily say that the new sequence formed here is also a GP. Since we are multiplying the first term of one GP with the first term of second GP, we are multiplying the second term of first GP with the second term of second GP. We are multiplying the third term of the GP with the third term of the second GP. We are multiplying the fourth term of a first GP with the fourth term of the second GP. So the new sequence formed is also a GP here. Okay, whenever we are given 2 GP, then if we are multiplying the first term of 1 GP with the second term with the first term of second GP, then the new sequence formed is also a GP there. Coming on to the sixth property, we will take the same example here. In the fifth property, we are seeing that the first elements of both the GP are getting multiplied, the second term of the GP are getting multiplied, the third term of the GP are getting multiplied, and the new sequence formed is also a GP. In the sixth property, we are telling that each term of the first GP is getting divided by each term of the second GP. So we are writing it as AR divided by AR, AR square by divided AR square, AR cube by AR cube. So the new sequence formed is also a GP. In the fifth property and the sixth property, we should always have two geometric progression. Then only we can use this property. In the fifth property, the terms of 2 GP are getting multiplied. The first term is getting multiplied with the first term. The second term is getting multiplied with the second term. The fourth term is getting multiplied with the fourth term. In the sixth property, we are seeing that each term of the first GP is getting divided by each term of the second GP. So these are some important properties of geometric progression here. Okay, now coming on to the next topic here. So now on the basis of GP, now we will see about the sum of n terms of a GP. Firstly, we have know about the general term of a GP. Now we will find the sum of n terms of a GP here. Sum of n terms of a GP. N terms means, suppose we are telling that sum of 2 term of a GP, 3 term of a GP, 8 term of a GP. So n here is the number of terms here. So sum of n terms of a GP. So we will find the sum of n terms of a GP. We have given here 3 cases here. When the first part, when the common ratio is equal to 1. When the common ratio is 1 here, the GP will be AR square, AR cube here. So A, the common ratio is 1, so A multiplied by 1 will be A. A multiplied by R square means 1 square, that will be A, and so on. So whenever the common ratio is equal to 1, then directly we will tell that sum of n terms will be equal to n multiplied by A. This is the first case here. When the common ratio is equal to 1, then we will find the sum of n terms by directly multiplying the number of terms with the first term here. That is the first case here, when the common ratio is equal to 1. Okay. The second case, if the common ratio is not equal to 1, when the common ratio is equal to 1, that is easy, we are directly multiplying the number of terms with the first term. But if the common ratio is not equal to 1, then we will find the absolute value or the magnitude value of the part. We find the absolute value or magnitudinal value for knowing the positive value of that term. Suppose if R is not equal to 1, if R is not equal to 1, then the second case arises here, that the absolute value is, if the absolute value is less than 1, if the absolute value is less than 1, then we are finding the sum of n terms by A multiplied by 1 minus R to the power n by 1 minus R. We are finding the sum of n terms when R is not equal to 1. Whenever the common ratio is not equal to 1, then we will find the absolute value here. Okay. Now on to the third part. If the common ratio is not equal to 1, whenever the common ratio is not equal to 1, then we will find the absolute value here. If the absolute value here is greater than 1, then we will find the sum of n terms by using this part, A multiplied by R to the power n minus 1 by R minus 1 here. If the absolute value is less than 1, then we will find the sum of n terms. N is the number of terms. Sum of n terms by A, that is the first term. In bracket 1 minus R is the common ratio and n is the number of terms here. And if the absolute value here is greater than 1, then we will use this formula here. Why we are finding the absolute value here? We are finding the absolute value here to know whether we will apply this formula or this formula. Suppose we are given here that R is equal to minus 5. Here we can see that R is not equal to 1. R is equal to minus 5. Then whenever R is not equal to 1, we will directly find the absolute value. We will not see any other point. Whenever R is not equal to 1, we will directly see the absolute value. Here we can find the absolute value of minus 5, that it is absolute value of R is 5. It means that R here is equal to 5, means R is greater than 1. If R is greater than 1, then we will apply this formula, sum of n terms A R to the power n minus 1 by R minus 1. That is the use of absolute value, only to know that which formula we have to apply there. There is no other use of it. We are only using the absolute value here, whether to see that we are finding the formula sum of n terms of this manner or this manner. Suppose again we are seeing that if we are given here R is equal to 2 by 5. Here we can see that R is not equal to 1. So we will not focus on any other thing or getting confused. We will directly write the absolute value of R, that is 2 by 5. It means we are obtaining here 0.4, and 0.4 is less than 1. Therefore we will apply the formula sum of n terms A 1 minus R to the power n by 1 minus R. That is the use of absolute value, only to know that which formula we have to apply there, the greater formula or the smaller formula here. That is the use of absolute value, only to know that which formula we have to use here. Okay, and if we have to substitute the value of a is the first term and r is the common ratio here, a is the first term and r is the common ratio here, will not get confused that the value of r here is 5. No, the value of absolute value of r is 5. The value of r is here is minus 5. So we will substitute the value of r minus 5 in this part, not the absolute value will be put here. Okay, in the same manner the value of r here is 2 by 5 and the absolute value of r is 0.4. So whenever we have to substitute the value, we'll substitute the original value of r in that part, not the absolute value here. Okay, now we have come to know about each and every point of this chapter. Now we will look at some example on sum of and terms of a GP. Suppose we are given to find the sum of the GP up to 12 terms, and the GP given here is 1 plus 3 plus 9 plus 27 plus, here it is given that we have to find the sum of the GP up to 12 terms. The GP here given is 1, 3, 9, 27 and so on. We have to find the sum of the GP up to 12 terms here. So whenever we are asked to find the sum of n terms in a GP, we focus on the common ratio here. Firstly, we will see that the first term here is a and the common ratio here, that is denoted by r, 3 divided 1 is 3, again 9 divided by 3, that is 3. Whenever we are given to find the sum of n terms, we focus on the common ratio. If the common ratio is not equal to 1, we just simply find the absolute value here. So the absolute value will be 3 here, whether it is positive, negative or anything. Whenever the common ratio is not equal to 1, simply find the absolute value. The absolute value is equal to 3, it means absolute value is greater than 1. Absolute value is greater than 1, therefore we will apply the formula as sum of n terms a r n minus 1 divided by r minus 1. Okay, we will apply this formula since absolute value of r is greater than 1 here. So we have to find of sum of n terms means sum of 12 terms here. Sum of 12 terms here. And the value of a here is 1. We will substitute the value 1 here. Again, the common ratio, that is r is equal to 3. N is the number of terms, that is equal to 12 minus 1. Again r is equal to 3 minus 1. So we will obtain it as 1 multiplied by anything will be equal to the same part. So 3 to the power 12 minus 1 by 3 minus 1, that is 2. Now we will see that the 3 to the power 12 will be equal to, we will just multiply it, 3 to the power 4 will be equal to 81. Again 3 to the power 4 will be equal to 81. Again 3 to the power 4 is equal to 81. So if we will see that, we will obtain it as 3 to the power 12. We will write 1. Now we will multiply all these three numbers with each other. Firstly we are multiplying 81 with 81. Again we will multiply 6561 with 81 here. So we are obtaining the value here 5,31,441, 3 to the power 12. So on substituting the value here, now we will divide it by 2 here. We will obtain the value as 2,65,712. 20 here. So that is the sum of 12 terms of the given GP here. So now coming on to the next example. Suppose we are given here how many terms of the GP, that is 1 plus 4 plus 16 plus 64 will be, how many terms of the GP will be added to obtain the sum equal to 5461. Here we have to find that how many terms we are adding here, how many terms of the GP will be added to obtain the sum equal to 5461 here. We have to find the number of terms that will be added here. So we are seeing here that the sum is equal to 5461. What we have to find? We have to find the number of terms, that is n. We have to find the value of n here. Before we find the value of n, here we are seeing that we have given here the sum of n terms of a GP here. So firstly we will look at the first term, that is a. The common ratio is 4 by 1, that is 4. 16 by 4, that is 4. Here we are seeing that the common ratio is not equal to 1 here. Whenever the common ratio is not equal to 1, we just find the absolute value here. So absolute value will be equal to 4, that is absolute value is greater than 1. Therefore we will apply the formula A r to the power n minus 1 by r minus 1. This formula will be adopted here on the basis of the absolute value here. Okay, now we have given here that the sum of n terms is equal to 5461. So we will directly substitute here. The sum of terms is 5461. The value of a, that is 1. The common ratio, that is 4. N is the number of terms that is unknown to us. Again r minus 1, 4 minus 1. Okay, now we will directly write 5461. 4 minus 1 is equal to 3. We'll multiply it here, cross multiplication. And 1 multiplied by this part will be the same, 4 to the power n minus 1. Again we will multiply it. 3 multiplied by 1, 3. 3 multiplied by 6, 18. 1 carry. 3 4 are 12, 13. 3 1 carry. 5 3 1, 60. Minus 1 will be added here, plus 1 is equal to 4 to the power n. So on adding the negative 1 on the LHS side, we obtain the value as 16384. Here we have to find the value of n. So we will express the value in the base 4 here. We will write it as 4 to the power 7 will be equal to 16,384. We will compare it with the RHS. Here we are seeing that we are obtaining the same base here. So we will equate the power, that is n is equal to 7. Therefore in this question we were asked to find that how many terms will be added to obtain the value 5461. So we are obtaining that 7 terms of this GP will be added to the sum equal to 5461 here. Okay, so coming on to some more examples here. Suppose if we are given here to find the sum of terms of the GP 3, 6, 12 and so on. We have to find the sum of terms of the GP. A new cases arises here. Firstly we have seen that if we have to find the sum of n terms of a GP, we were just focusing on the common ratio. If the common ratio is equal to 1, then we directly find the sum of n terms by multiplying the number of terms with the first term. Okay, but if the common ratio is not equal to 1, then we find the absolute value there. Okay, a new cases arises here if the last term is known to us. If the last term is known to us, then we can directly find the sum of n terms by LR minus A by R minus 1. L is the last term, R is the common ratio. A is the first term, R is the common ratio. So for finding the sum of n terms, we directly multiply last term into the common ratio, and the common ratio here is 6 divided by 3, that is 2, 12 divided by 6, that is 2. So 1536 into 2 minus a, that is the first term, by the common ratio here is 2 minus 1, that is 1. So 2 minus 1 will be 1, the denominator will be vanished from here. So focusing on the numerator, 2 6 are 12, 2 3 are 6 7, 2 5 are 10, 2 1 are 2, 3072 minus 3. So we will obtain it as 3069 here. Okay. So for finding the sum of n terms, when the last term is known to us, we will follow this special formula here. Okay. Now we will see about geometric mean. Geometric mean between two numbers. For finding the geometric mean between two numbers, in the chapter AP, we have to find the arithmetic mean between two numbers. For finding the arithmetic mean, we were just adding the two numbers and divide it by 2. But for finding the geometric mean between two numbers, suppose the two numbers are A and B, we will directly multiply this number and do the root value of it. So the geometric mean between these two numbers is root AB. We can also find it by using this manner that A, G and B are in GP, and if they are in GP, then the common ratio will be same here. So G square is equal to AB, G is equal to root AB. This is the part by which we are finding the geometric mean here. Suppose, so I think that this much examples and all these topics will be clear to you. If you have any doubt related to this topic, then do share it with us in the comment box. We will help you out right there. Okay? Thank you.